Hey everybody, it's Ozone. Welcome back to my base here with the Vault Hunter friends, SMP. In the last episode, I got into thermal expansion and met some of these machines back over here. And in between episodes, I've been trying to get more into it and learn a little bit more about it. And I have made some progress. I haven't gotten a machine together per se. I've just kind of been playing around with and experimenting with things. But there's definitely been some conclusions drawn and some progress made. One of the things that really helps out is getting one of these batteries, this redstone flux cell. And let me tell you, this guy was kind of a pain in the bum to make. When we look at the recipe for it, it takes a block of cured rubber. And this frame also takes 4 blocks of cured rubber. Now these blocks of cured rubber are 4 pieces of cured rubber. And you get cured rubber by smelting down regular rubber. And you make regular rubber with vines around a bucket. Such a strange recipe. Now, of course, you get the bucket back after you make one, but the bucket is empty without water. So that means you either need a whole bunch of full buckets of water in your inventory so that you can keep crafting, or in between time, you've got to get some fresh water every single time. And let me tell you, this is annoying. Especially because those 8 blocks of cured rubber need 32 pieces of rubber, 32 buckets of water, and 32 separate crafts. It was worth it. I'm glad I've got a battery, and I wish I had more than one, honestly, but it takes a lot of time, and it's rather annoying because you can't just bulk craft it. Now, there are crafting automation things within the thermal series, but those have all been gated by the Automatic Genius mod, which requires that you unlock every single mod in the mod pack first, before you can unlock Automatic Genius. So while some automated crafting would be really helpful for rubber, it's not going to help us out here, or at least not yet. But this battery holds 1,000,000 Fe, which is quite a lot, and definitely helps out. I've got it churning out some ice over here because, again, ice is one of those things that is difficult to do. And I was pleasantly surprised or excited to see that I could just put a drawer underneath here and enable the auto output to go to the bottom face, and it just keeps shoving it into the drawer. So I think one of the big things that I enjoy the most about working in a mod pack is mixing the mods together. Kind of like mixing these pipes and drawers and thermal all into this setup. It's kind of fun. But I did try in the last episode to use an AE battery here, and that did not work. I came to realize that you need this energy acceptor in order to connect things up to the AE system. But even with the energy acceptor, the power was never routed to the energy cell. And so I just added it here to my AE system, and it helps keep the thing running just a little bit longer, but it's not something that I feel like I really needed. And it's a little annoying that it didn't work with the thermal series. And the other thing I did was I went through the process of upgrading this iron generator into a full netherite generator. And this took quite a bit of resources, though it really wasn't that bad. Not only do we need a regular generator in the middle of any variety, which I used iron, of course, it does need to be surrounded by 3 diamond generators, each of which takes a block of vault diamonds and some chromatic steel, and then there's this block of black chromatic steel at the bottom. I thought this was a block of netherite, and I was a little confused when I went to craft it and this was red. But I had the materials, and let me tell you, this thing really cranks out the energy. Well, I've got an extra crafting table, so look at that. 256 Fe per tick. The diamond generator only does 64 Fe per tick, so what, 4 times what the diamond generator is? Which I guess makes sense because there's at least 3 diamond generators in it. But the bottom line is that this netherite generator pretty much puts any of the thermal series dynamos to shame. I mean, there's some good ones if you give them the right materials, and I've got a really cool trick for that too. But the Sterling, anyway, which just burns regular materials, there's no way it comes close to this netherite generator. Now, I opened a few mod boxes and I got a few of these gourmand dynamos. I actually picked up quite a bit of dynamos from the mod boxes. Look at all these things. There's a bunch of them. But this gourmand dynamo eats food and generates power. And a really interesting thing about that is these vault suites, which are basically junk. I've been living off of them. My auto feeder has been feeding me. But put one of those in and it generates, well, we can't see it here, but it generates about 10,000 FE, which is pretty darn good for something that we have essentially an endless supply of, and something that we don't have to collect. It just shows up in your inventory as you keep looting in the vaults, right? So that's pretty good. Now there is an augment that I can put into the Stirling Dynamo to make it produce more power, and that is this multi-cycle injector. Increases your fuel efficiency, so it gives you 1.1 times the energy that you would normally get for each one of these in there. So we could get up to like 1.4 times, but it uses some weird materials. This aluminum plate and, well, lead clear and different glasses from the thermal series. Any of them will work, but they all require some special crafting. And I just don't really want to do that because I really don't see that even if it were full of augments, it would come anywhere near this netherite generator. The one thing that does come near to it, though, is the lapidary dynamo. This was the one I just wholeheartedly dismissed. Oh, it eats diamonds and produces energy. But it produces a lot of energy. 500,000 RF? So 2 diamonds will fill up this entire battery? I mean, getting diamonds through mining is not very easy to do. But what did I just say about mixing mods and how that's part of the fun of working with a mod pack? Yeah, there are definitely ways to get more diamonds more easily. And yep, over here, villager trading. Now wait a minute, how do you get diamonds from villagers? None of them trade diamonds and give you diamonds. Well, not diamonds directly, but we can get diamonds out of it. And for the low price of 1 piece of iron, I can get 3 diamonds. That's kind of crazy, honestly. This is a series that I think is worth showing off. So step number 1, we trade the iron to get some emeralds. And it doesn't really matter how we do it. There's more than one way to do it. Step number 2, though, is our handy-dandy armorer here. He's been through the converter a couple times, and all of these pieces of diamond gear can be had for 1 emerald, or 1 piece of iron. Now, the emeralds themselves can be used in the lapidary dynamo, but why would I use 1 emerald and let that be consumed for an inferior amount of energy when I can get 3 diamonds from each of these pieces of armor and consume that for a whole lot more? It's like a 6 or 10 times improvement. So anyway, let's just buy all this stuff up and show you, because it doesn't really matter what kind of armor we get. Next up, we're back here in the thermal room at the pulverizer. And I think that the pulverizer from thermal is one of those few things that will do this. I don't think that a mechanism pulverizer will turn diamond gear into diamonds like this does. So I think this is a really interesting turn of events. So we load up all our diamond gear into the chest and see it get pulverized down into a bunch of diamonds. So those 12 emeralds are now we're going to turn into 36 diamonds, each one of which can be fed to the lapidary dynamo to generate 500,000 FE. And we should be seeing this thing go up. But since it's not really going up in the cell anyway, I'm guessing that we're using all of the energy to pulverize these things that this lapidary dynamo is producing. So it says it's producing 40 per tick, and this is consuming 20 per tick, and the blast chiller is also producing 20 per tick. So, yeah, so it's producing a lot of energy. It's just all getting consumed by these machines. But it's still a pretty amazing progression and transformation. 1 piece of iron goes to 1 emerald, goes to 1 piece of diamond gear, goes to 3 diamonds, which, consumed by the lapidary dynamo, goes to 1.5 million RF. Not a bad way of looking at it, honestly. And I really like having a source of diamonds that doesn't require me to go digging. Because occasionally at the bounty table here, we've got a submission task for diamonds, which I don't have one currently. It would have been nice to be able to show that, but occasionally the bounty table wants some diamonds, and that becomes super duper easy thanks to the pulverizer here. So, yeah, progress. It's a little slow in getting there. I'm trying to find the best way to do it and the best thing to do, but I really enjoy trying to figure out how we can mix and match the mods in order to get spectacular results like this. For the most part, though, most of the machines are pretty much like mechanism machines, and there's not a lot of creativity to it. Oh, well, actually, there is one thing that I think is a really great block. Again, something that I got from a mod box, and that is the Igneous Extruder. The Igneous Extruder, as the name implies, basically combines lava with something else in order to get stuff. And you can get blackstone, basalt, stone, and cobblestone, but I think the blackstone is one of the things that I'm most interested in getting because, again, there's not a really good renewable source for blackstone here. Okay, I'm corrected. Nope, Create does it better yet again. Ah, I didn't realize that was a thing, honestly. But nevertheless, I want to play with it a little bit to see if it lives up to any other expectations. If I could just set it up and forget it and have a cobblestone generator, that'd be really cool. But I think we got to constantly feed it water and lava. Now, obviously, water isn't a problem, but lava might be. But I think get started, we'll do the quick and dirty here. We'll throw some water in there. And, can I do that? No, I can't. It looks like it has to be pumped in. And I'm glad I didn't try that with the lava. I'm pretty sure that, yeah, lava would just work the same way. Okay, so we got to pipe these things in, and that adds a new layer of complexity. With a blast chiller, I could just hit it with a bucket and put some water into it, but this one doesn't work that way. But that does raise a really interesting question, is I wonder if I can get an infinite source of lava by combining the vanilla mechanics. Let's go try it out. I'll show you what I mean. So what I really want to try and figure out is, can I pipe lava out of a cauldron? Because that's how we get a vanilla lava farm, is to have dripstone above cauldrons, and eventually it fills up. So if I take, and I'm going to put this around on this side. Oh, no, it doesn't attach. It doesn't even attach to that. Oh, it doesn't need it inside. Well, that simplifies things quite a bit. Requires an adjacent lava source and cooling. Huh. Well, I really did want to see if I could try and pump this lava out of a cauldron, but it doesn't seem like the pipes will connect up to a cauldron. And again, that's something that I think Create does better. I know the Create pumps will connect to a cauldron and extract the lava out of them. I wonder if there's some way we can do that with thermal, but I don't really think they have a pump type of mechanic. But in terms of getting cooling into this, I really don't know how we're supposed to do that, because this does not have a side configuration. Requires an adjacent lava source and cooling. So, all right, let's try this. Let's move our lava into that, and then we'll do another little block right there and move the water into that. And what is this thing doing? Oh, nice. Very nice. That does make the basalt and blackstone a little easier to work with, honestly. And honestly, one of these things feeding into the pulverizer, we can get gravel and sand and all the other stuff, just kind of like Create, from all of the cobblestone that's being generated here. All right. Big score. Big win for thermal in my book. This is nice. I was really glad to get it as a mod box item too, because it's expensive. I mean, 4 pieces of black chromatic is not out of the question, but I would much rather get it for free out of a mod box than to use my black chromatic to make it up. But I suppose, knowing what I know now, I would still go for it. That's really fast and handy, honestly. There we go. I think that's looking a whole lot better. I can swap out this thing here, which is currently blue ice and therefore making blackstone. The lava is directly behind here in the wall, so it's nice and safe. So yeah, I could swap out this for something else and then put another drawer down here, and The piping is pulling it out and putting it into the drawer. It's the simple generators like this that I feel are really valuable and useful. Like I said, I might have to make a couple more of these. They're pretty nice. While I'm talking about all the thermal stuff, yeah, in the last episode we put the aqueous, entangler out here in the river, and it's been working away. I've emptied it once, but it's nice. It's actually working, and I've gotten, I don't know, 5 more of these things. I think I probably should get them all set out here, and then they'll just be constantly collecting fish whenever I'm in my base. It is close enough to work, and, well, it's slow, but that's okay. I don't have to do anything to it. Completely passive. I like it. So I'd say things are starting to really come together in this base. It's not very well laid out in some areas, but I am liking thermal expansion a whole lot more now that I've had more time to play with it. And I like the villager setup a little bit more too. These rooms are obviously very plain. I'm really not one for decorations, but I don't know. I want to do more with it. I feel like I should do more with it. So you tell me, if you could decorate this room, what kind of things might you add? I didn't even put the lights on the ceiling like I did in the other room. But yeah, I feel like it needs a little bit of something. I mean, yeah, okay. I feel like it needs a lot of something. But I just don't really find decorating to be enjoyable. You know what I mean? Well, let me know what you think. But as for in-between progress, there has been quite a bit. Let me look at my deck first. I have been just purchasing cards as much as I possibly can every opportunity that I have. And as always, I'm out of shards. But I do have my deck pretty well full, right? So I've got all kinds of resource cards for different things. Well, maybe this is the better way to go. So we just got a little bit of everything here, a little bit of increased ability power, movement speed, mana, and all of these resource things, carbon, bennies, vault diamonds, bronze, all of this stuff is good stuff. There's nothing in here that's bad, honestly. But once you get a little bit of a collection like this, then it's time to start fine-tuning it. And that's where I'm kind of at, or feel like I need to be going. I don't have enough quite yet. Many of my extra cards are over here in terms of arcane cards that just have skills that I don't particularly want to use. Oh, yeah, 4 trinkets. Yep, I'm doing pretty good in that front. I always enjoy trinkets. Let's get these guys identified up. Now, how did I get 4 trinkets? Well, I've just been running a lot of vaults. I did have 2 unidentified treasure keys, and I was able to open those treasure rooms, both in the same vault, actually. And I got a whole bunch of stuff, but I don't believe that I got the trinkets. I just got the trinkets from a lot of vault runs. And I mean, I've been doing pretty well. I've jumped up probably 10 levels in the last 2 episodes, and that's in spite of the fact that most recently I've been running a lot of Plunderer vaults. See, this is another Plunderer Pearl for here, ready to get going. So, what have I been doing? Well, that's kind of the secret. I don't think I want to share that just yet. I was in the middle of talking about trinkets. Let's identify some trinkets. Oh, the burger. That's really good, especially later on. The frog. Walk up full blocks. Okay, so this is step. This definitely improves your movement in the vault. This can also be really good. Increases mana regeneration. I mean, I've got the crystal ball over there for more mana, and then the giant's heart, extra health. Oh, like I said, trinkets are always good. My problem is I tend to just save all my trinkets, you know, because I want to use them for something special, and then I never use them. I need to start using them, but I'm doing just fine on running regular vaults as it is. I also picked up another deck, the Anvil deck. Well, I can see why it gets that name based on the shape. If you've got a whole bunch of row cards and you need a really long row, this one would probably be a decent one. But I think my black deck, no, it's not. It only got 5 wide. This one goes 7 wide. Yeah. But overall, the number of cards that this holds is a little bit less than the black deck, I do believe. Yeah, that's 21 versus 20. All right. really close. Really close. 20 versus 21. But at present, I like using the black deck. I wish these had slightly different textures to them because we really can't tell the difference of them. And this one, let's see, this is also 7 long twice, so 14, and then another 6 is also 20. So this has the same amount of cards, but 2 very long rows. It's just really interesting the shapes that they have, and I'm sure that there is one scenario or another where one shape is better than another. Like I said, these guys are really good for like surrounding cards, these spots here, but also really good for row cards. And then lastly, I've got some materials in here because I want an infinite water source. Those things are pretty handy, you know? I don't know how many times I've put down my water in the vault and then run off and didn't have water when I wanted it. So this is really helpful still. It was way more useful previously when the mobs were affected by the water bucket, but still, it's a quality of life thing that I like to have with me. Maybe I'm a bit old school in that regard, but I like it. And so there we are, all of the trinkets that I've accumulated so far in this playthrough. I've not used any of them up to completion, and in fact the Ender Anchor is the only one that I did use early on, primarily because I accidentally left it on my person when I went into the vaults. So let me know if you're anything like me. You want to save these trinkets and use them at a time when it's most advantageous, and in the end, never really use them up. I know it's a problem, and I don't know what to do about it. but if you're like me, yeah, just leave a comment and tell me you're not alone in this. Everybody's OCD is a little bit different, and, I don't say I have a ton of OCD, but that's one of my hang-ups anyway. Also, in between episodes, I did get a chance to finally save up and reset my skill altar. And so this is what I consider like the bare minimum, right? I got 1 vein miner, 3 heal, a couple dash, maxed out in strength. Strength is just essential. Maxed out in speed, and 1 haste. I could have definitely taken this down even further, but I used up pretty much all of my regret orbs doing that, and I don't really feel like I'm ever going to be in a situation where I want less than these. But maybe in the future we do, and it's pretty easy to just restart here. Now, I did go ahead and get into a bunch of skills, and I accidentally went into Smite instead of Storm Arrow once again, and so I saved this one out just in case. Smite was okay, but it wasn't great. My current build, let me save that out, is using Storm Arrow. I just love Storm Arrow, but I'm also using Porcupine and Quill because I have these shields with a massive amount of block damage, right? This one is doing 44.5 block damage. I had a shield that did more, but it was only a common shield with a legendary affix. So once I got this higher level one that had really good numbers but was Omega, I switched over to that, as opposed to my sword, which is all in on attack damage too, and it's doing 47. So my sword and my shield are doing about the same amount of damage. But then you stick on Porcupine and it's doing 450% or 200-ish damage, and every time, yeah, that's pretty darn good. Now, it really sucks my mana down fast, so I can't do it that often. Because I'm doing the Porcupine, I can actually kill champions, and even the dungeon dwellers and the dungeon champions in most cases, they just die really fast. Oh, I guess it also helps that my chest plate is giving me another +2 levels of Porcupine. So yeah, I'm all in on a Porcupine build currently. I don't get to do it all that often because it really sucks the mana down fast. But it is fun when I do get to trigger it. But like I said, I've been doing really well in the vaults, and I don't get to trigger it all that often because I don't really need it. Yeah, we're back to that secret thing again. So what exactly am I talking about? Well, I really felt frustrated. Once I hit level 50, I really felt like I'd hit a brick wall, and I struggled mightily in the vaults. I was trying to collect a bunch of cards, trying to fill out my deck, and I just wasn't able to get any completions. Basically, I felt like the vault was too hard. And I looked at my difficulty level, my local difficulty level, and I was on normal. And I'm like, well, I guess we'll try easy. So I went down, tried easy, and it was definitely easier. but I still had difficulty completing the objectives. I don't know why, I just really struggle to complete the objectives, and I feel like you should be able to complete the objectives most of the time. You know what I mean? But there are definitely times where I get objectives and I just feel like there's no way I can complete them. Even if I'd been much more efficient, even if I'd been much faster, even if I'd been much more aggressive with killing of the mobs, I still feel like there's objectives that are impossible to reach. And I feel like that happens fairly frequently, honestly. So I went on down even further. And I went down to Piece of Cake difficulty level. That's right, I've been running vaults on Piece of Cake difficulty level. Now, I know Vault Hunters is supposed to be a difficult mod pack, and I know people relish that difficulty. I also know that sometimes you just want to run a vault, and you don't really want the challenge. And that's where I've been recently. I've had more fun just running vaults, and I'd say I've been getting better loot as a result than I have had in a long time. Previously, I wouldn't run vaults just for the fun of it, you know? And when I did, they always had afterlife on them because, well, dying sucks, right? And I know I can recover from dying, but I didn't really feel like I was in a good position loot-wise in order to do that very often. But on Piece of Cake level, all of that is out the door. I'm having fun, and I just feel like I'm being efficient, and that is satisfying to me. Being efficient and having a good vault run are important. And so, while I definitely don't consider this cheating, I do feel like this is frowned upon by the Vault Hunter community at large, and I don't think that's right. You know, the local vault difficulty is there for you when you're in those positions. And I don't plan on doing Piece of Cake all the time. But for right now, I'm having a lot of fun. And honestly, that's what's important, isn't it? Just having a lot of fun. Well, that's my thought process anyway. And that's my dirty little secret aired. Although, like I said, I definitely don't consider this a cheat, so it's not dirty at all. But like I said, I do feel like it's frowned upon. So what do you think? Do you think this is cheating? Do you think this is making it too easy, taking away the difficulty, and therefore not fun? Well, everybody's a little different in these regards, but let me know in the comments down below. Have you ever done this? Have you ever dropped your difficulty level? I feel like most people forget that it's a thing that you can do. You set your difficulty level when you start the game, and you just kind of forget about it. But no, you have a local difficulty. And let me go ahead and redo the command for those people that might not know it. It's /thevault local difficulty. This is not changing the difficulty of anybody else in the server. This is just for me, the player, and then your level. Easy, fragged, hard, impossible, normal, and Piece of Cake. Well, if you've been kind of stuck and stymied, maybe this is the right move for you too. Well, anyway, I want to move on. I've got a lot of knowledge stars that are kind of burning a hole in my pocket. And honestly, I don't feel like I need very much more. But I'm going to go ahead and use some of them up because I want to get into the higher potions and brews. I want to get this maxed out. Everybody has to do their own thing. It's not like we can share this, so everybody's going to do it in the end, and I've got the stars, so I might as well do it right now. For the most part, it's just a few extra hearts, but I think the big thing is the added benefit that you get from your alchemy table, right? Right now, I've got immortality for 6 seconds, but with that biggest potion, I think I can get immortality for like 30 seconds or something like that. And immortality is overpowered, yes, and it's going away in the next update, yes. So I'm just using that as an example. But everything gets bigger and better on the bigger potions. So I think it's definitely worthwhile to just jump right into the deep end and get the biggest potion out there. And you know what? I see that I can just finish these all up. And while this is the last bit of thermal expansion, I feel like this is one of the more useful things that can be made with it. I think this is probably going to be a very expensive block to create, though, but it'll be worth it to play with, I think. Because again, the point of this playthrough, or at least one of the points, is to do things that I haven't done before. I'm deliberately making choices to get into new things that I've never experienced before, and thermal is just one of those things that I've been playing with that I've never played with before in this playthrough. So let's get it done. Let's jump into the phytogenic insulator and see what we can do. I do have a little bit more knowledge available, but I really don't think that's going to make much of a difference in trying to get any of the other mods unlocked. Well, let's check my theory about whether this is an expensive block, and yes, of course it is, requiring an echo pog. Otherwise, not that bad. I happened to get 15 pogs from the 2 treasure rooms that I had done, so I could do this. But I think I'm just going to wait and tackle this a little later. I'm still having fun playing around with some of the regular thermal stuff, but that gives you a little heads up about what's coming down the pipe, I think. All right, well, it looks like I might have to make a choice. Echo Pog for a brew or Echo Pog for a phytogenic insulator. That's actually not much of a choice. I want the brew. Of course I do. All right, well, big moment here. I think I've got everything that I need, but making an Echo Pog. Whew. I only have 10 Echo Gems total for everything that I've been able to collect in this playthrough. I don't think I've... Oh, I did use a couple on my torches. But big step, and this is going to be something that I just get to use for the rest of the playthrough. Yum, 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 10 hit points. Very, very nice. Now, putting an effect on here through the alchemy table is muy expensive. Very, very expensive. But what do I like? I generally actually like to go for regeneration, because if you're down enough that you're taking a drink out of your potion, regeneration can really be good. The +5 absorption hearts can also be good. But okay, 10 seconds of immortality. Is that worth 64 gold and 64 vault diamonds? I don't honestly think so. I like immortality on my potions quite a bit, but I honestly don't think that's worth it. I definitely need to be finding more of these things in dungeons, again, which is one of the reasons why I dropped down to piece of cake. Because when I went into dungeons, I really was cautious and had to cheese them in order to feel like I could accomplish and complete the dungeon. And so I didn't find very many of these things. Anyway, I'm going to stick with regeneration. I think that is super, super helpful when you're down a bunch of hearts and needing to take a slug of your potion. So +1 regeneration for a full minute. And that's going to make a big difference running the vaults, don't you think? I think so. I'm happy for this one, and it's a good first Echo Pog usage, I would say. Now I just need to try to figure out how to find more Echo Gems. I think I've had one Void theme that I ran with Yo-Yo one time. That was it. Just one Void theme. Not that I'm complaining. I kind of find the Void theme really annoying. But, that's where you find the echoes, unfortunately. Even when I did the mine room, I really don't think I got any echoes from that, honestly. Oh well. Well, I think it's time to go run another vault. Another piece of cake. And because, like I said, it's all about having fun. Abominos. So with the cat out of the bag and all that being said, I really hope you enjoyed this episode of me playing around some more with thermal expansion and getting into a little bit more automation. I definitely want to do more, but right now I just want to run a vault. So we'll see you in the next episode. Until then, remember, be excellent to each other. I'm out.